Hello everyone, welcome back to Rolling Solo. My name is Adam Smith, and today I'm very excited to be unboxing some items from the second or reprint Kickstarter for the City of Kings. This game is designed by Frank West from the City of Games, and this was a fantastic solo game, and it actually landed on my top 10 solo games for 2018. So if you haven't checked that video out, you can find out more about my thoughts on it during that video, as well as we did a showcase for the game back when the first Kickstarter fulfilled. We did an unboxing, a solo setup, rules overview, and then a full playthrough. So if you're interested in adding this one to your collection or are hoping for a future Kickstarter in regards to picking this particular game up, then that showcase will help fill in the gaps as to whether or not this is something that is for you. Now, what you're seeing in front of you right now is a result of the second Kickstarter, where additional components were added in order to enhance the game even further than what it was in the first Kickstarter. So this is going to have miniatures, because some of them were standees, and when I refer to some of them, I actually mean all of them were standees. But what the miniatures are adding to this is not a miniature for every standee in the game, not every enemy, it's just for the heroes, which I think is a very smart choice, because most people like the feel and look of having a hero be the miniature, don't necessarily need a gigantic box full of enemy miniatures in order to make a game great, and that's proven here with the standees that are fantastic. The artwork is great. We've got some ally boxes on either side of the art book. We've got some other content hiding under the art book I'll go into soon. Side quests way up here off camera, and then some extra dice. We'll go through all these components in this video to give you an idea as to whether or not these additional items may want to be a part of your collection or not. So if you'll join me, let's dig in to the second round of the City of Kings. So how about we start off with the rules updates from the first Kickstarter to the second Kickstarter. This is something I really appreciate games doing, especially when they come back for a second print run, and that is updating the rule books, and of course also offering those rule books reprinted to the backers that actually stood behind the project. So I really want to give big kudos to Frank for doing this, because anything that either improves a rule book, especially, or a quick reference book, is huge. So you're going to get not only the quick reference book here, but you also have the rule book underneath, so you know that going forward with this product that there is support in actually fine-tuning some of the things people have noticed. So that's fantastic. If you have any experience whatsoever with what this rulebook looks like, you'll be very familiar with all of what you're about to see. But essentially, I'm not going to go through everything in this book, because small things have been tweaked, of course, but I'll give you a general look at the rulebook on the inside to see kind of the layout of things, the text, the spacing, and the artwork. And it's a quick reference book, so we'll move right past that quickly and head into this rulebook here. So the rulebook here we've got is the adventure starts here. Again, this is going to be another reprint, essentially, of the original rulebook, but again with tweaks. So same type of situation. You've got some really nice illustrations and artwork. I really found this rulebook easy to read and also visually enticing. So as I read through it, I kind of wanted to continue on. Most rulebooks are not like that, and I really do appreciate the spacing, the actual pacing of the rules explanations, and just how it's written. It was very easy to follow, and I didn't run into any situations where I didn't know what was going on. So this was really fantastic, and again, now it's gotten even better with a second version. Lastly, we've got what it says down here is the updated creature stat bars. So of course, you're going to get a ton of stat bars with the original core game, but things have been tweaked since the original copy. It says the creature stat bars in this pack are designed to replace the creature stat bars from the first print, and with the matching numbers, of course, on the back. And you will no longer need the old stat bars. You can actually throw them away because they've been completely replaced. Carefully find the matching stat bars using the numbers on the back in your existing game and discard them, and then place these new stat bars in the box to do that. And you can see if we flip these over, there are your numbers. So you'll go through your original core game, find all the numbers that match these particular backs, chuck the ones in your box, and put these in place of them. They've been completely corrected. Lastly, here we've got a pack of dice. So this is just going to give you more dice to play the game with. Always a good thing. It's definitely a nice to have. It's not completely necessary, but the dice in this game are very beautiful, and they're all engraved nicely, and they look fantastic. So I picked up another pack here, and they just look absolutely awesome. Now this guys, next one I'm really excited about. This is the City of Kings designing a world, essentially an art book that can come along with the product if you so choose. And what's really cool about this is you're going to get a little bit of a deep dive into how the City of Kings was actually created, the artwork that went into it, and things like that. So I'm going to do a quick flip through this because it's going to show off a bunch of pictures from the game and things like that, some of which are familiar and some of which are new. Like these sections in the back are actually showing ideas and concept art from what could be coming down the line in the future. A few of these back pages are devoted to that. It even says right there, the future. So it's got a little sneak peek. And then it goes into all the different artwork that you see across the cards. And I can tell you the artwork in this game is very, very appealing. And when you look at it, I don't know, I had absolutely no qualms whatsoever about the artwork, and I'd love to see more of it. So this art book is a nice addition. Talks about the map tiles, talks about the factions, and there's just a ton of information here because it even goes into the characters that you're playing, so you get some information and background on who you're playing, what their story is a little bit, what's going on with them as it relates to the world that Frank has created. So a very, very cool addition, and it's also thick. There's a lot of art in here. I'm flipping through a large majority of the pages, but in total this art book comes in at around probably over 100, actually 95, 96 pages. So basically 100 pages. That's a solid size for an art book, and I'm really, really happy that I picked this up. The next thing I want to show you guys is the hero pack for City of Kings. This is going to take your standees from the game and turn them into actual miniatures, which you can use within the game. Again, all enemies are going to be standees, which is nice because there is a ton of them, and if they turned into miniatures, you'd need another City of Kings core box just to hold them all. So it's nice that the focus on the miniatures was specifically just for the heroes, because you do move your character around the game board a lot in this game, so it'll be nice in terms of just getting that feel and be able to see your character come to life on the game board and be a little bit more represented in a more extreme way. So I'm going to go ahead and we'll open the box up, take a look at each of these individually. Now, another thing that you may not have noticed there in the last section when I was talking about these particular miniatures is the fact that this box has actually got UV spotting all over it. So it's a very, very nice box. The production on these things are really, really nice. Wanted to make mention of that because a lot of boxes are just very bland. They're usually throwaway. In this case, I was assuming that I'd be able to throw this box away, but now after looking at it, I probably am going to hold on to it because of how nice it looks. So let's go ahead and open it up and find out what these miniatures are all about. Alright, so once you've got the box lid off, this is what you expect to see inside of this hero pack. Is 5 miniatures that all relate back to the core game experience. We're not talking about any additional characters or allies that have been added into the City of Kings just yet, but you'll see those boxes soon enough, and they come with the miniatures. These 5 miniatures are specific to the core game, so if you pick that up and you want miniatures, this is the box you want. There's 5 of them in here. I'm going to bring them nice and close up to the camera so we can see the detail in each one of these. All right, so we're going to start off with this individual. You guys remember this guy from the showcase. He is a behemoth, and of course, when he shows up in the game, he looks awesome, takes up a lot of space. He's a big miniature. Really, really cool, and the details on this are actually surprisingly sharp. I was really, really impressed. I didn't expect this level of detail, especially on the first run-through of these miniatures, but Frank obviously spared no expense in making sure these miniatures really did, they did them justice to the characters and the artwork that were there from the standees originally. But this is fantastic. If you're a painter and want to pull out details and things like that and fine-tune your miniatures with small intricate spots, you're going to have a lot here to work with. They're really, really well done, and I'm hoping I'm doing them justice just based on the distance from you to the screen, but it is fantastic. Another thing to note, guys, is I'm a little silly. I think I mentioned earlier that there was actually 5 heroes, and there's actually 6. You can see there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So 6 heroes that make up all of the heroes that come from the core game. And here is another one right here. So again, even on the smallest guy, the details are awesome. They look really, really good. The next miniature in line, as you can see here, looks fantastic. And you can see the sharp definition of all the little details on the body, as well as these swords, which are awesome because they're perfectly straight. And you don't see this all the time. Typically, you see miniatures that may or may not have bending of the swords, especially really thin parts. So very, very impressive that these came as straight as they are. Very, very nice. Look at the details on this guy. Pretty awesome. Now again, the names are starting to fade from memory because the last time I played the game actually was quite some time ago, but this has rejuvenated my excitement for the game. I really want to get it to the table again. I already did a showcase on the channel, but it was quite some time ago last year, but I had so much fun with it. And this guy's miniature is really, really cool. Like, I'm just loving it. And again, like, the detail, fantastic, no issues at all. And the next miniature up, we are on the second last one. This one's got a really cool pose, just kind of crouched right down there. Awesome. The spear, again, perfectly straight, not a single bend in that thing at all. All small areas look really, really good. Detail is popping like crazy. Love it. Well done. And there we go. Look at the details on even the feathers here. They're fantastic. So good. This was one of the other individuals that I used during the playthrough, including the large rock individual, and I literally cannot remember their names for the life of me right now, so somebody can flog me for that in the comments below. But I played this bird-like creature as well as that gigantic rock creature, which was the first one. Again, very, very happy with these miniatures. They'll definitely enhance the gameplay and the look of the game while I'm playing again in the future. The next thing I want to show you guys is the pack of side quests for City of Kings, some additional ones that get added into the game. Here's a quick glance at the back of the side quest pack number 1. There's 50 new cards to be added to your game from this one. Let's go ahead and take a look at what they look like. So inside the box was actually a fold-out sheet here all about quests, about building them, getting to particular quests, which I believe involves NPCs based on the wording here, which is pretty awesome. And then on the very back here, we've got an example of a build quest. So this is going to show you basically maybe a new type of a quest. You got attempts all the way down here and how to basically go about dealing with a build quest. So that sounds pretty cool, something to look into. And of course, cards. So let's go ahead and take this wrap off and find out what these things look like. Alright, so if you're familiar with the City of Kings and the side quests in general, just quests, this is what the backs of them look like. So nothing new here, of course, because they just get added into all the side quests that you already have, giving you more options. I'm not going to go through all these because I don't want to basically spoil a ton, but I'll just quickly rip through them. So maybe I will technically go through all of them. If you really want to spoil something and stop, you can, but these are just going to be all kinds of different side quests you can essentially go on that have been made brand new for this particular game. So it's really exciting, kind of varies things up a little bit, gives you some extra options to go after, different rewards, of course, to gain in different numbers. So that's really cool. Obviously going to change up the gameplay a bit by adding those in. So that's a pretty awesome pack to have. All right, so we're going to jump into the allies now that are brand new to the City of Kings. So how about we take the box cover off and find out more about these two. Here's a nice close-up shot of the artwork on the front of the box, as well as the fact that this one, as well as the miniature box, has UV spotting on it. So it does look really, really nice. So hopefully that's showing up nice for you guys. Now let's take off this box lid, see what's inside. Alright, so when you first dig into this ally box, you're going to, of course, get yourself a nice rule book for these brand new allies. And I'm assuming, yep, there's even some creature abilities at the back here. Maybe they're brand new for these particular ones. Again, I won't be able to speak to these as much because I have never seen or played these ones yet. But you're going to have a nice rule book that follows the same format as the rule books that you saw earlier in this video in terms of the creature abilities, tokens, and different things that this is going to add in. But it looks like it doesn't just add in allies, it actually adds in tokens for the enemies as well, so that's really cool. So you got a whole new token sheet. Let's say this one even has a couple location or things that can happen in the game. Again, I have no idea. That'll be really cool. Some faction ability stuff going on here. Some new characters. That's really interesting. So I'll give you a nice close-up of those. Those are pretty awesome. So some new, and again, like I said before, the artwork in the game is really nice on these tiles. Like, they're really, really fantastic. So I've always been happy with that. And now we're going to get to the actual game boards for these two individuals that we have in here. So the very first one is going to be a fold out. Now the other thing that's really cool is, look at this, a full fold out artwork on the back of your player board, as well as the story of the character itself that you're playing. This is something I really loved from the first one. And then when you flip it over like this, you've got yourself the full mat for this particular character, including all the skills for this character. There's a lot going on these sheets, and this is just one of the two in the box. Next up, we got another character here that we can play with. This is pretty awesome. Again, going back to the amazing artwork on the back. Love that. It's very, very nice. And I love having that ability to flip your board over at the beginning of the game and just have a quick read about your character before you dive in. Of course, the art book would likely have some of that text as well as additional information. And this is the layout for this particular character. Very, very cool. So excited to bring these guys in. Now, of course, because these are brand new introduced allies that weren't there from the original, in this one, you're going to get miniatures for each of these inside these boxes because, of course, that would only make sense. Now these two are really, really cool. Look at them. They're just so unique. The poses are so different than anything else that I've got going on here so far with the heroes. So those are really cool. They're smaller in terms of size, but they're average in terms of the size of the other miniatures. But they're certainly not as big as that giant rock individual. So again, detail on them looks fantastic. It looks like they follow suit and it will mix in well with the other heroes. And of course, you wouldn't be able to use standees without the actual stands themselves, so you get a bunch of those in the box, as well as some new cards. And we're going to go ahead really quickly here and rip through these cards without giving away too much information. Here is a closer look at the backs of the cards. You can see story, legendary challenges are here, but they're ticking down. They're kind of in reverse order, basically. So we'll be restacking these, but the first one's right here, story 1 setup, and then it progresses all the way through all these cards. Again, I don't want to spoil too much, but I'm just going to show you guys quickly from a distance all the different cards. This is basically the layout of what you'd be familiar with from the original game and how you move through story, whether it's through chapters that you're going through and stuff like that, heroic challenges, legendary challenges. If you really want to replay the game again and push the difficulty up, then I recommend you do those. So you got a full set of new adventures. And now we're down to the very final box of the City of Kings unboxing from the second Kickstarter of additional items. We've got ourselves here the Ancient Allies, another set of 2 more characters that you can bring into the world and play as. So we're going to dive in by first taking a look at the artwork on the front of the box, which again has UV spotting, and then we're going to take the cover off, see what's inside. And here we go, a nice close-up of the artwork on the box. Again, fantastic all the way around. We'll go ahead and show you the UV spotting. Looks really nice and crisp. Really makes the box pop when the light hits it. So this is certainly going to follow a similar pattern to the last Ancient Ally box, but we're going to have another rulebook here specific to these characters. Again, probably introducing all kinds of new special skills, creature abilities. It's about 9 pages to get through this particular rulebook, but that's pretty much on par with the one you saw before, but different for these particular characters. Again, more of these abilities coming out, plus some interesting tokens I'm noticing here, like egg tokens and stuff. So obviously these characters have the ability to do some pretty unique things. And then we've got another page here of tokens that are specific to different creatures in the world. So I really want you to see the artwork on these because I really do think they're phenomenal, as I did with the last pack. So you can see there's also standees representing the heroes that you can be too. So you don't have to use miniatures. Again, of course, the game is all standees, but the miniatures obviously will enhance things just a little bit more. We'll go to the next game board here for the first hero, Yana, that we're adding into this one. So again, another nice fold-out artwork on the back of the player board. Looks really good. Flipping it on over, again, a completely different character. And I think in this particular world, having these characters with all the special skills that can be unlocked over here on the left-hand side of the board really do add to the replayability of the game. It's very much reminiscent, in my opinion, of Too Many Bones. The more characters that are very unique in terms of their skills and ability allow you to go back and replay a similar story you've already played, or against an enemy that you've chosen to go up against and experience a different game or have to go about it a different way. It's very much a puzzle-solving type situation. So flipping this one on its back, one of the cooler new heroes that I really like the look of, which is basically like a moose dog thing going on here, but artwork for this one is really cool. And then we'll flip it over, take a look at the player board. If I was going to pick any new ally to use, I'd probably be using this one. I think it just looks phenomenal. Very, very cool. I have, again, no idea based on the unique skills of these characters which ones I like the most yet, but soon I will find that out. We got another bag of the stands in here, some miniatures to look at, and cards. So let's take a look at them a little closer. Wow, talk about total polar opposite sizes for these particular allies. One is like this giant behemoth, and the other one's just tiny, tiny little thing. So really, really cool. Again, detail right on par with the other ones. So if you have them all together in a nice group or you're painting them, you'll be very, very happy with the quality of detail. The fur on this guy is really sticking out, even just unpainted. And if you dry brush these, I'm sure they'd look fantastic just by that alone. So these are the 2 new allies that come in this box in terms of the miniatures. And then, of course, very similar to the last box, we got a whole bunch of more story to add to the game. Again, the backs are going to be the same all the way along, all the way back to Story 1 setup, but I'll give you a quick run through of these different cards. Again, they're going to look very familiar, but they follow a nice progressive story as you go through and play. Now, what I'm not familiar with is whether these stories directly relate to the ally or to just a new story within the land themselves, but I really love the fact that he's always included heroic and legendary challenges. This is what really adds to the replayability of the game, because once you start beefing up that difficulty, it gets pretty tough. So a good game all the way around, and this is definitely some content that's worth looking into if you want to bolster your City of Kings. And that is going to conclude the unboxing for the City of Kings. Some new content to add to the game for those of you that have been following along with this one for a while. And for those that are new to this and have never heard of the City of Kings or didn't see my top 10 solo board games of 2018, this was certainly in that list. And I absolutely love this game. Definitely highly recommend it. But first, absolutely do your research on it to make sure it's a game that works for you. So I do have a full showcase on the channel that'll show you everything you need to see. It was linked very early on in this video. Check that out as well, and that'll help you in your decision. Thank you guys so much for your support. Hope this was useful, and as always, keep on rolling solo.